Here we are. There we go. We're live. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear
Hello,
you loud and clear.
everyone. We are doing this for the second time. The first time we tried something and it didn't work, so we're sorry if we're 7 minutes late. Welcome to those of you who are tuning in right now. We are having a conversation with Richele Maarie, who's an entrepreneur and a women's wellness advocate, and she lives in Australia. So it's 10 o'clock in the morning for her, 10:07 for her in the morning right now, and for us it's 5:07 in the afternoon here on the west coast of the United States of America. And I just wanted to welcome you and ask you to introduce yourself before we dive into this topic of money, power, women, and sisterhood.
Thank you so much. It's such an honor to be here and to chat with you about such an incredible and powerful topic. I'm coming from the Gold Coast, Australia. My name is Richele Maarie, and as Shandani said, I am a women's wellness advocate. I am a holistic health coach, and I support women to create personal brands online to really get their message out there and to be heard.
So tell us a little bit about how you started to focus around entrepreneurship, business, wellness, strategically emphasizing women. What was the thing that made you want to emphasize? Because I've seen your work a lot, and it's always sort of circled around women and how women come across and how women excel in business and how they should brand. What is it about your life today that specifically navigated you to focusing on the role of women today, especially when it comes to business and entrepreneurship?
So for me, it really comes from my own story and my own journey in life. So I've been through a lot, and I'm not going to get into those stories today, but for most of my life, I lived from a place of no confidence, no self-belief, very suppressed voice, not feeling like I was good enough, not having any self-love, feeling like I always had to have somebody else in my life to support me. Like I could never really create what I truly wanted to create in my life myself. And as I journeyed through that and really came to this place of deep level of self-love and self-belief and started to activate my voice and get my voice out there and share my message, what I really became passionate about was supporting other women to do the same. Because what I see in this world is so many women going through the same things that I did. And I know that a lot of that for myself was passed on generationally from my mother, from her mother. And I know that's a big thing that's happening in this world. There's so many women who feel like they don't have a voice, who feel like they're settling for things in their life and they're not truly standing in their power. So before I stepped into the work that I'm doing now, I was working as a holistic health coach, which I love, and I'm super passionate about holistic health as well. But I felt called to do something more. And I felt the women that I was working with, they were working with their health and they were better in their physical body, but they were still unfulfilled. They weren't living a purposeful life. They still felt like they didn't have a deep level of self-love and they weren't using their voice. And that's what led me to do what I am doing today around helping women build personal brands on social media, because I believe that personal branding through social media allows us to activate our voice. It's such a powerful tool and platform for us to share our message. And sometimes in the beginning, it can be quite hard, because if we're not living from that space, then it's uncomfortable to speak up. It's uncomfortable to put ourselves out there, to be seen. But as we step more into that, it allows us to activate more of that. It allows us to find deeper levels of self-love and acceptance and confidence and self-belief.
That's really interesting that you would say that it's generationally indicative of women across the world to be socialized into certain parameters where their self-esteem or their self-value has been undermined for A, B, and C reasons that are obvious economically, culturally, historically, as women and male genders have evolved through history. what do you think is the biggest obstacle that prevents a woman in her life today, whether she's in college, just graduating from college, in high school, just graduating from high school, a mom who's already had a family, somebody who is single and feels at a loss in a job that they absolutely don't feel that they align with. What do you think is the single biggest reservation or fear or contradiction in a woman's life that prevents her from allowing herself to speculate and undergo questions and actions that will lead her into a new world that she has no idea about, that she's never been a part of? What do you think is the biggest factor that prevents a woman to want to change and change from something that she's never known before in her life?
I think one of the biggest things is the feeling of not being good enough, not worthy enough, the fear of how she may be seen or judged in stepping into something that is unknown, in stepping into something more for herself. If she's in a place where she's feeling unfulfilled, or even just in a place where she's searching for more, searching for change, I think a big part of it is not feeling worthy and not feeling deserving, and just feeling like she needs to settle into what is in front of her, into the life that she has, into the life that she's known, into the life that her parents have lived or society says she should be living in.
Do you think that that sense of a life where somebody's living somebody else's life, or somebody's living a life they think other people expect of them, do you think that's the norm? Based on your own reputation and your own experience of women you've worked with and women you've seen growing up with and women in your life, do you feel like that's the majority of sort of like the stereotype of how women move in the world today?
Absolutely. I think it is the majority of women in this world, that is their norm. And I think it's becoming there's more women stepping outside of that now, because there's people like you and I who are speaking up about this, who are bringing more awareness to this, who are leading the way and giving permission to other women to step outside of that. But I absolutely think that it is the majority of women who are still living in this way, who are still boxing themselves in and living their life to please other people, living their life in a way that they've been told that they should, or that they think that they should, or they're afraid to step outside of that. And yes, it is absolutely the majority of women.
Do you think that, I'm interested in speaking about this to bring us to your work, as sort of a guide of how you've come to be who you are in your role in business. Do you feel that the biggest majority of women who have this fear or this inability to really go for what they want is money? Do you feel that it's financially based, or do you feel like it's something deeper than that?
I think money plays a part in it, but I think it's deeper. I think it is this underlying belief that they don't feel worthy, that they are afraid to be seen, they're afraid to put themselves out there, they feel that they're not enough. And money plays a part in that as well, because maybe they don't feel worthy or deserving of the money that they could create.
Do you think that women in business should, this is a general question, right? This is not specific because there's an exception to every rule. But generally speaking, do you feel that the way women move in the world today, in today's world, through making money, having a career, achieving financial success, do you think it's implicitly the same as the way a man does it? Or do you think there's a diametrical difference between a modern day woman in today's society, in any space, in any industry, actualizing who she is first and then implementing a unique strategy that's perhaps not even known of in the world today to do the business that she does? Or do you feel that there are certain things that have been implemented historically in business that a woman needs to basically sort of go through in order to achieve any kind of financial or business success?
I think that historically, the way that people make money in this world, the way that people run businesses and create business and create success has come from a very masculine way. And that is one way to do it. And sure, a woman can make money in that way. However, I believe that the way that we as women, modern women in today's society, can make money in a much different way. And if we tap into our own femininity and we tap into our like feminine self and really our feminine essence, and trust in the fact that we know that we are magnetic and we actually do business and create in a much different way than men do. And so if we can step away from the masculine way of doing and pushing, because as a woman, I feel when we follow that strategy or that way of creating and building business and making money, it can feel we can end up getting quite burnt out. So if we can come back to our own feminine essence and tap into us as a woman and our magnetic energy and really tap into our heart and our cycles and learn to create from that place of allowing us to go up and down in the flows, because we're not always in a place of this like outward energy, of this doing energy. We as women actually need time to relax, to slow down, to go within, to give back to ourselves. And so I believe that we can create business, we can create our business strategies around our feminine cycles, around our flows. And when we do that, we can actually create more in a much more easeful and I guess, in a more easy way, where we get to just attract the things gently and not be in such a like push energy.
That's really interesting. That's made me realize that just for myself too, with building Chandani.com from zero with my own strategy, because I didn't have a business background. I had a wellness background. I was an actress years ago, so art background, and having the courage and the grace of life to actually give me the ability to start a company based on what I really believed in, and sort of being a lone ranger and learning humbly through my own mistakes of picking myself up, listening, learning, becoming more humble, growing insight, learning about tools and practices I was not versed in, and yet never straying from my own intuitive, unique voice, which can be a lonely path, especially as women in the work world, entrepreneurship world today, because the alliance of a woman in the world of finance, or the alliance of a woman in the world of branding or entrepreneurship or institutionalization is far and few. When we as women move into the world of finance to build a company, I had my first investors meeting this December. I was terrified. I had to write a financial deck, and somehow I got invited to speak at this investors conference, and I was mortified at the amount of men that were there. There was like 10 women, and half of those women were working for the men that were at the conference. And the few women who I did see present had to play that role because they were in that conversation, in that vibration, in that space. And yeah, we can be chameleons and we can learn, and we're intelligent, and we can be team players and say the right thing at the right time. But it made me realize that there is a paradigm shift with women in the world of business, in the world of finance, in the world of institutionalization. that is occurring right now with people like myself or you or other women who have achieved more or less, or women that are starting, that are questioning their own voice. So my question to you is, when a woman comes to you and says, I love, Richele, what you're saying, I really want to change my life, you know, I've been, you know, a mum for the past however many years, or I just finished college and, you know, this is my degree and I want to do my own thing. How can you help me? How can you help the mum? How can you help the newly graduated college student female who's wide-eyed and bushy-tailed and wants to make an impact, wants to make a difference without losing her own integrity, her own voice? What kind of insight and what kind of work can you offer these two types of people?
Yeah, awesome. So what I actually do is I work in the industry of affiliate marketing, and I'm partnered with a digital marketing educational platform. And within this platform, it teaches anybody from the new and aspiring entrepreneur to the most advanced entrepreneur how to start and run and scale an online business through personal branding. And so when I have a woman come to me, and I often have mothers, which is interesting because I'm not a mother myself, but I have a lot of mothers come to me because I find a lot of mothers have lost themselves during motherhood. They've lost their identity. They've given themselves, they've given everything to being a mother. They've given everything to their children. And along that journey, they've lost who they are. And so they come to me and, you know, they say, I want to find my purpose. I want to find myself outside of motherhood. And what I find is that personal branding, as I mentioned before, is such a powerful tool to do this, because when we build a personal brand, we are basically sharing ourselves authentically online. And we are all unique. We all have a very unique message to share with this world. And it's unique because it comes from us. You and I might have the same messages, but it's unique because we share them in our own unique way. And I'm very, very passionate about helping women to find this, what it is, like, what is their heart calling to share? What is it? Like, what is their story as well? I love supporting and encouraging women to share their stories. We all have stories, and many of us hold them inside of ourselves, and we may feel guilt or shame around them. We may be afraid to share them because we're not sure what somebody might think of us, or maybe what people might make that mean about us. But I find when we can share this, when we can express it, it is so liberating. And it also gives other women permission to do the same too. It gives other women permission to live in their authentic truth. And so when these women come and they want to find their purpose, they want to do something for themselves, they want to build their own business or generate their own income, become independent, and do so in a way that's really soul aligned, do so in a way that makes a positive impact in the world, in the lives of other people, and also helps them to become a better version of themselves. So I do this through partnering them with the platform that I'm partnered with. And through that, we help them grow a personal brand online. And then we partner them. There's opportunities to partner with high ticket offers, or somebody may have their own.
What does that mean for the audience, the high ticket offers? Because that must be an Australian term.
Well, a high ticket offer is basically anything that's really over $1,000. So when you're selling something, so with a personal brand, if you build a personal brand, it doesn't matter what you choose to do along the way and what you choose to sell along the way. People are buying into you, not necessarily what you're selling. So if you have a personal brand, people have personal brands on social media, maybe they're influencers, but they may not be making any money from it. And it's a really powerful way to make money and to actually generate an income. So if you have a personal brand, it is in your best interest to put some kind of product or service behind it to earn an income. And so within our platform, we teach people how to partner with high ticket offers. And there's one specific offer that we recommend within our platform that has been tried and tested to be high converting, and it also gives high commissions. So that product is within the wellness field. It is a water ionizer machine. Or if people already have their own product or service, then they can use all of the education within the platform to build their personal brand, to get their message out there, to learn how to write to their ideal customer so they come to them. It also gives them education around selling and heart-centered sales. But we also teach them the power of high ticket, because as a health coach previously, I was working one-on-one with clients, and there's only so many hours I had in the day, and there's only so much I can charge for my one-on-one time. And so there's a cap on how much I can earn. I could create a program that's more of a high ticket offer. And so we teach people the power of actually having high ticket offers, because at the end of the day, what I'm really passionate about as well is freedom. And so we can be making a lot of money in business, we can be making a lot of impact, but if we don't have the time to enjoy our life, to spend it with the people that we love, then we're not really free. And so when we have a high ticket offer, that allows us more time freedom.
So is this a network marketing company? The water ion. Well, I just want to understand the company. So I know it's helping women, or men too, right? But your focus is on women, men or women, to come in and build their personal brand, which means sharing themselves on the plethora of social platforms that are available to us today, which most everyone is on in some way, shape, or form. And then for an individual to either develop their own product or personal branding of service that they have on their own, or they can opt into this product that the company, the affiliate company, actually endorses in order for you to sort of share, which is like a water ionization product, which is good for health, good for the environment, so on and so forth. So there's integrity behind what you're selling. You're not just selling snake oil to
Absolutely.
make money. So
they're two separate.
Explain. Is it okay? Oh, it's two separate companies. Can you explain the names of those and what they do and what they offer, each one, so that we know we're understanding what you are doing?
Yeah, awesome. So the educational platform that I am partnered with is called the Freedom Era. And this educational platform is also an affiliate offer. So when people come in, I also make a commission from their subscription into the platform. That's where all of the education is. Like I mentioned in the beginning, somebody can come in that already has their own product or service and utilize the education to take their business online, to expand their business online, to learn the skills of digital marketing. Now, if somebody didn't have a product or service, or they did and they were looking for an additional stream of income, because with a personal brand, you can have multiple things that you're offering, as long as it's aligned with your true values. A person, like, your personal brand is you, and so you can kind of offer and sell whatever it is that your heart calls you to do. And it's obviously beneficial to have multiple streams of income as well. The other company, which is a Nagic, is a direct sales company. And that is one of the companies that the Freedom Era recommend to partner with their high ticket offer.
We should get them to endorse Chandani.com.
I know, we spoke a little bit about that.
I know, we did. It sounds like a very interesting, progressive company, and I've had a look sort of briefly on the link you sent me, and I will post these links for anyone that's interested in looking into it. But we've been talking about that now. I want to sort of stream it back to the topic of our conversation around, okay, so we know now why you're interested in women's empowerment and how important it is for women to recognize who they are, where they've come from, and what is available to them today in order to continue to evolve and grow. I want to circle it now to, we talked about power, the power structures that are in our world today and how that's up for redefinition as well. But I want to talk about women and women together, as collaborators, as sisters, as friends, as comrades, and how you feel about women working with women or women collaborating with women, and if there's any challenges that you've come across yourself as a woman in business, a woman in the world today with other women, and open up the conversation around who we are with regards to one another.
Yes, I love talking about this, as you know, and it's something that I'm also very, very passionate about, because I've been, again, through my own journey with this as well, feeling like in my early 20s and even in my teenage years, I was very intimidated by other women. And it all came from a lack of self-love for myself. And there was this comparison with other women and feeling like we had to compete against each other. Now, in the place where I am today, feeling very whole and certain and confident within my own self, I believe it's so powerful for us to come together as women to heal all of those wounds that historically, evolutionarily have been there. Because as women, when we come together, we not only heal those things, but we become so much more powerful. We're here as sisters. We're not here to compete with one another. As I mentioned earlier, we all have this very unique gift, and that is ourselves. And there's nothing or no one that can compete with that, because we are our own uniqueness. That is what makes us us. And there's nothing else that can compete with that. So when we get to come together with our sisters, with other women, we get to like amplify whatever it is that we're putting out to the world. We get to come together and also really lead the way and give permission to other women to do the same. And there's something so healing about coming together with our sisters, about seeing our sisters, really seeing them, acknowledging them, loving them. And it's like that is just radiated back and forth between us. And that I love that about business as well. I love bringing women together. I have this amazing tribe of women, and we come together every week and we support one another and we cheer each other on and we get behind each other and we ask each other how we can support one another. Because as a woman in business, I've been there before to do it all on my own. And it's not fun. It's challenging. It's lonely. And I've felt the like competition. And in the past, when I've reached out to other women to collaborate or to come together and to support one another, I have experienced women that aren't really behind that. I can say now where I am, it's totally different. And I have so many incredible women in my life that come together and we're all there to support one another. And just like yourself, Shandani, when you reached out to me, you know, we spoke about this and it's like, how can we come together just to support each other, whether it's through doing these live interviews and we're sharing each other's messages on our own pages. What is it? There's always a way that we can get behind each other and support one another. And when we come from that place, it's a place of abundance. It's a place of knowing that we live in an abundant universe. There is no need for this scarcity mindset of, oh, well, she might take this from me or whatever it might be. There's no need for that, because we do truly live in an abundant universe. And when we can really anchor into that knowing and truly have faith in that, then nothing or no one outside of us can take anything from us.
Why do you think women typically don't like to collaborate with other women, other than obviously the self-love? That's the root of it, right? The root, and that's sort of the foundation of so many obstacles in our lives, men or women, is the lack of self-love, or the denial of self-love, I should say, because self-love, I think, is inherent in everyone. It's part of our breathing. It's part of our cellular activity to keep us alive. I think it's more of a denial of self-love, or being unaware of the self-love that exists within us. Other than that foundational obstacle, that foundational barrier that prevents us from seeing the truth of fearlessness, of true union in everything, especially between each other as women, what do you think it is that turns off a woman to another woman, especially a woman who reaches out to another woman with an open heart and an open hand, who says, hey, we should, because I've experienced this my whole life, my whole life, even when I was a child, I remember having my heart broken so many times because, so-and-so didn't want to be my friend, or so-and-so wasn't my friend anymore. And it was like all these girl squabbles, like from a very young age. I want to ask you, what is it beyond knowing it's the lack of self-love that creates this resistance or this disaffection of a woman totally opening her arms and her heart to another woman? What do you think that is?
Yeah. Well, speaking from my own personal experience, also being on that other side, I think that many women are intimidated by powerful women. And I know you said beyond the self-love, but it does come back to that self, like lack of self-love of self, or lack of love for self. And we feel intimidated by another woman. But I think that it stems from evolutionarily, like women feeling like they're in competition with one another, maybe feeling like they're in competition for a man. And because if we look back evolutionarily, like the man was there for our survival and for procreation. And so I think like this has evolved over time, and we still have that wounding within us. And I think that's where a lot of it stems from. And that's not the world that we live in today, but it's still there. And I think a lot of us are still acting subconsciously from that place.
Fascinating. What do you do with women that helps them heal those things? What are some of the gems or secrets or techniques you can share with us in your work that's helping alleviate that imbalance, I should say?
Well, for me, it really comes back to self-love, and it's like really practicing, because there's so many women, there's so many people in the world that, like, I love that you said it's not a lack of self-love. It's like a remembrance of the love that we have.
Denial.
Yeah, a denial, because that's exactly what it is. We come into this world as love. We have deep love for ourselves. That's what we are. And we're denying it. And, it may be passed on generationally, and it may be from experiences that we've been through in this life. But we all can come back to that. We can all come home to that. But it takes practice. And so there are many self-love practices that I have and I use in my life, and I share with other women in my space. And there's a whole lot of them, and it depending on where you are and how you're feeling. But, things like writing love letters to ourselves, forgiving ourselves. I think that many of us hold on to guilt or shame about things in our life, and just forgiving everything, because everything is perfect. Everything that has been and come along our journey was part of our experience, was there to mold us into the person who we are today. And holding on to that isn't getting us anywhere. So if we can just forgive ourselves for anything and everything that maybe causing that denial of self-love. Doing mirror work, really sitting with yourself in the mirror and looking into your eyes and giving yourself the love that you give to everybody else around you, and nurturing yourself. Because if we can't love ourselves, if we don't give ourselves that love, then how can we expect anybody else in this world to show up for us and give us that love? And really just doing things for you that make you feel good. Doing things for you because you deserve it. Because you're a loving, beautiful, kind, compassionate human being, and you deserve that love.
I think that's really interesting because, they say truth is one. And there's all these different schools of thought. There's all these different techniques. There's all these different practices. But really, at the end of the day, connecting with yourself first, becoming aware of yourself first. In Ayurveda, we have journaling. In our product line, it's all things to nurture, heal, remedy, balance, and heal our bodies first. So that the foundation of the self-love is based in existential transformation and practice. And the funny thing is I think that since the industrial age, especially since the industrial age, we've sort of chopped off our head from the rest of our body. And there's this recognition that we need to come back to this immersion, this cohesion of becoming total again, of becoming cohesive again, of becoming aware again. And I think that it's a frightening practice when you have not lived like that for so long, when it's been not even introduced to you, when somebody tells you we have this massage oil called Naked in our line, and it's based on the practice of Abhyanga, which is self-massage in Ayurveda, and one of the most healing techniques, which is self-massage twice a day, whether you do dry brushing or not, for the physicality, and it stimulates the lymphatic system and all that stuff. But really, it's a way to connect yourself to the present you, to heal yourself, to come into your own skin. And I would tell some of my clients to do this in front of the mirror naked. And women were so resistant to this, because it was almost like it's vain, or it was too painful. It was too painful for a woman to do something so nurturing and so basic and so primal and so healing for herself, and expose that right back to herself. That women would either totally not want to do it, or they would be weeping, including myself. I think when I went through the practice of this, my Ayurveda master gave me this practice when I was studying with her, I resisted it for the longest time. I was like, this is so stupid. Like, why would I want to do that? That's really vain. That's gross. I'm not going to do that. Resist. Till finally, I was like, this is ridiculous. I'm just going to do it just to get it over with. And I was like weeping, and it really opened up something in my heart that was so primordially deep-rooted resistance on a cellular level, on a psychological, habitual level, conditioning level in myself, that it literally broke the illusion of the other and myself. And I was like, for a me or a woman who's never been in connection with herself, to say, I love myself, I'm beautiful, I'm whole, I'm connected, I'm powerful, it's like a paradigm shift. And it can't be pretended. You can be a powerful woman with a very big ego and lack of self-love, or you can authentically go through the recognition of actual self-love by practicing and washing away those veneers, those inhibitions that have been psychologically passed down through generations of our lives. So I commend you for this work that you're doing, because they don't teach you this stuff in medical school or business school or any kind of school. And to correlate these practices that seem like not important, because how's that going to make you money, and how's that going to make you, get rid of starvation in the world, are actually really important factors in the development of an individual that is going to leave something behind in the world. If we're not whole, like you said, if we don't love ourselves, then we have the world that we have today. Can you comment on your work of developing real self-love in women, in business, and how that correlates to the global pandemic and economic crisis that we have today, and what you're impassioned about and what you're doing today in your life with the circumstances that is helping you move forward in your business and in your work in helping other women?
So I'm going to answer how I feel I understand that question. So the work around self-love in relation to everything that's happening in the world right now, and how that's making an impact in my life, and how it's making an impact in the women who I work with and beyond. I believe that we have to first create this healing within ourselves to see any type of healing and change out here. And I feel that with what is happening in the world right now, it's almost like this wake-up call for a lot of people to come home to themselves, to actually sit with a lot of things that they have been avoiding. And the work that you were just speaking of, and this self-love work, like, so many people have resistance to it. And so many people are living their life, going through the motions, distracting themselves with their work, distracting themselves with their family, distracting themselves with all of these things because their life is so busy, and they're not allowing themselves a chance. They're not allowing themselves time to actually connect to themselves because, as you mentioned, maybe it's weird, or maybe it's vain, or maybe it's so painful because they've never done that before. Maybe it's just really uncomfortable and confronting because it's something that they haven't been taught, because it's something that is a little bit out there and it's maybe not normal. And even I hear this all the time, that self-love and self-care is selfish because we should be caring for everybody else. We should be giving to everybody else. We should be serving everybody else. But if we're constantly giving and focusing on everybody out here, then we're emptying our cup, we're draining ourselves, and we can't actually show up in our full power, in the best version of ourselves, to be the best mother, partner, business owner, friend, whatever it might be. If we're constantly draining ourselves, then we can't show up as that person. And so what I feel and what I see at the moment is there's so many people that are actually getting a chance to sit with themselves without the distractions and to actually tune into their own self-connection and ask themselves, well, what am I doing with my life? I've been living on this autopilot. I'm not actually following my soul's purpose. I've been living to please everybody else. I actually feel like I'm becoming aware of the self-negative talk in my mind. I thought that I loved myself, but maybe I don't, because I haven't truly given myself time and space to even understand what's going on in here. I haven't given myself time and space to nurture and honor what's going on in here. And I've just been living this life of, like I said, giving to everybody else and moving on autopilot and doing the things that I thought I needed to do and showing up in the way that I thought society deemed acceptable or how I was supposed to show up in this world.
Yeah, just to put a perspective on that, I read in the news that America is now up to 33 million people that are unemployed. And even though there's hundreds of thousands and billions of people across the globe in various kinds of circumstances, it's very sobering almost to know that there are 33 actual million people that don't have a job to go to and that are doing exactly what you're saying. But what concerns me is that we don't have enough tools for the larger population of the world. And so your work is so vital and so important and so imperative today that I always say that the highest activism in the world is the activism of true wellness, which accommodates all these things we're speaking of. It's not just one facet, it's multifaceted and it's integrated. And so if any of us have the urgency or the longing or the awareness or the call of saying that, yes, this is what we need in the world, wellness is where I want to be, then I invite people to reach out to people like you, people like me, so many different companies, so many different individuals that hear the call of our humanity, that hear the call of our circumstance, that hear the call of our planet Earth, our Mother Earth, and to in service to the people that are truly in need of some guidance. And like we said before, this isn't about you or I or other people telling people what to do. This is about us sharing tools and practices that we're passing the torch to others so that they can enlighten their own path and live their own reality, their own creativity, their own abundance, according to their own program, according to their own design. And that is what true autonomy is about, is for somebody in a collective arena, in a collective whole, to share with you and empower you with things that you can actually empower yourself with, to get us out of the dictatorial, dogmatic world of hierarchy. That's where I think the world is being pushed right now, is that we're moving from this hierarchy of paternal, dictatorial rule historically into re-emerging in a more balanced. It doesn't have to be a hierarchy. It can be more of a collective reciprocity. We can come together as an organism and share and collaborate and empower and learn from one another. But we need to have more and more people like us in the world that can be torches, the torch bearers of a collective practice that's modern, that deals with our livelihood today, that deals with how we feel today. Each of us is so different, but we have so much to heal within our own selves, all of us, men and women. So I commend you for your work. And I just want you to sort of like round off this beautiful conversation we've had over the past hour, sort of a synopsis of where you see women, money, power, and sisterhood today, and where are you seeing it going for the future?
Yeah, amazing question. So, as we mentioned earlier, I think right now, the majority of women in this world are living from a place of that denial of self-love, living from a place of not using their voice, from a place of feeling like they're not good enough, they're not worthy, and settling for things in their life that isn't actually what they truly desire. They're living from a place of not feeling fulfilled because they're not following their heart, they're not following their soul. And I think there is a massive paradigm shift that's happening, but still there's so much room for growth. So what I see in the future is women fully standing in their power, realizing their power, activating their voice, living from a place of deep self-love for themselves, and coming together in sisterhood to support each other, to have each other's back, and to just continue to spread this message and to be the light to every single woman in this world and every girl that is being birthed into this world, to have them see and awaken them to know that they are beautiful, they are perfect, they are powerful, their voice needs to be heard, and that they get to give to themselves first. They get to love themselves first. It is not selfish. The most selfless thing that we can do is love ourselves so that we can show up in our fullness, and that we can then ripple that healing, ripple that love out to others and out to the world and out to the earth.
That's so beautifully said. And just to add to that, that in this world today, as women, it's actually an opportune time, because there's this quote by my teacher, Osho, and he says, "Come out of the masses, stand alone, and live your life according to your own light." And I think we've kind of had it to here on so many levels, and we're connected in the world at the touch of a button. We know now more about each other as a planet, as a culture, as a people, as women, as men, than we've ever had the capacity to know. So it is the time for the lone wolf, for us to all come and howl together. So thank you so much for your time today. This incredible conversation that has so much value and so much significance and so relevant, that even if one person listening to this gets it, you and I have achieved our goal.
Yes, absolutely, 100%. It was so amazing to be here and chat with you. You're right, this conversation is so relevant, and I just want to share that if you are listening to this and this has activated you in some way, now more than ever, the world and your fellow sisters and brothers need you to come forward, to share your voice, to share your message, and to follow your heart's purpose in this world.
Can you please just give us, I know we're going to write it down. I'll go in and write it down again, but can you just give us your social platform handles and how people can reach you if they want to contact you and learn more about you and your work, which I am a huge fan of. And I can't wait for you and I to continue our friendship, our sisterhood, and our work together as well.
Me too. Yes, of course. So my Facebook, which I think is linked in this video here, it's Richele Maarie. It's spelled Richele, and Marie is spelled Maarie. And my Instagram is exactly the same. So please reach out to me, come say hi, send me a message. If you are called to find out more about what I do, how you can build your own personal brand, how you can get your message out there, or even if you just want to connect in any way, please reach out to me. I love connecting with other people and new people and amazing women. So yeah, thank you so much, Shandani. It was just an absolute pleasure to be here. And I'm so excited for our friendship to evolve as well.
Well, have a beautiful day. I'm going to have a beautiful evening. You're going to have a beautiful day on the Gold Coast of Australia. The fact that we can talk to each other, you in Australia, me here in America, at the touch of a button, live on Facebook, is enough to make me get really happy. So got that.
I love that.
Stay safe and I'll see you soon. Namaste.
Okay, lovely. Namaste.
Bye.